defense attorney who has played for all sides of the law. Mr. Walker, counselor, we appreciate you joining us. You have been a prosecutor, you have been with the city, you've been with other government entities, you have been a defense attorney. We know the judge here, and we know judges sometimes they get something we call black robe syndrome. You put on that robe and you are in control. Yes. You are lording over your courtroom. Is it his prerogative to tell jurors not to speak to the media when people have interest? Why did they decide how they decided?
That's quite common because the judge wants the jurors to listen to the evidence that's been presented for the court. The judge does not want the jurors to have any outside influence. So it's very common practice for a judge to instruct the jury not to speak to anyone regarding the case until it has concluded.
It has concluded. Now we may hear from them. Your thoughts on the guilty verdicts? Did you see it as a slam dunk, or because you can play both sides, defense attorney, did you see something as a clear path to appeal?
Well, I didn't see it as a slam dunk. Both sides had a difficult task to do. The prosecution had two credible witnesses who were very cooperative. The defense had a witness, Mr. Smollett, who was very charismatic. He's an actor. He knows how to play to the jury. One of the tasks of a witness is to get the jury to like that person. And being the fact that Mr. Smollett is an actor, I saw no issue with him being able to do that. Now, as far as an appeal goes, I do not see any appealable issues. However, if there was one to be appealed, it would be the one where Mr. Smollett was possibly tried twice and someone could claim double jeopardy.
Interesting. Yeah, we heard that from Irv Miller, too. Not necessarily double jeopardy per se, but not by the letter of the law, what would commonly be referred to as, but the fact that, hey, he went through it once. The state said it was settled. They took his bond. He did his community service. It was quashed. Everything's all good. Everybody goes home. And then all of a sudden, starts over again. You got Dan Webb, former U.S. attorney, a convening of a grand jury, 6 felony charges. You ever seen a process like this?
No, not for a Class 4 felony. A Class 4 felony, as Irv indicated, is a very low-class felony. It's punished by 1 to 3 years in prison, but probation is a possibility. I have never in my law career have seen a Class 4 felony take on such notoriety.
Yeah, absolutely. Rarely have we seen a crime that absolutely didn't happen take on such notoriety. And there were obviously questions from the beginning as to who is out committing hate crimes when it's -7 wind chill. That was the temperature, January 29th in 2019. And what Hollywood star goes to Subway 2:30 a.m.? Some of it just didn't make sense from the get-go. Counselor, want to just interrupt you for a minute? Want to take our viewers to where we are right now. It's called the bullpen. This is where you basically see a gaggle of journalists, and this is the calm between, we have now heard the verdict. Jussie Smollett, one-time star on the TV show Empire, guilty on 5 of 6 counts, not guilty of 1 count. This is where our Dana Kozlov is. You see her there, eagerly waiting to jump in. Dana, jump in.
Well, there's been a few more people who have come down to the lobby now, people who were up in the courtroom waiting for Charlie to do the same. I know he was also doing a report for our CBS Evening News. And so that means usually when you start to see and feel this increased activity, people are going to start heading down as well. I can't give you an exact timetable. I'm keeping an eye open, but there's definitely more people who are in the courtroom and others heading this way. So it could only be a matter of a few minutes before they're down. And I just wanted to bring up a question too, Brad, that you might want to ask our esteemed legal experts. And that is, could Mr. Smollett be charged with perjury? Or is that just a moot point? So that was what a few people were asking me, and I honestly didn't have the answer to that. So I thought in the interim, while we wait, maybe that is a question that I might pose to you and you in turn pose to them. But right now, we're still waiting.
I believe the answer to that is it would be moot, as it would be with the really any of the other counts, guilty on one, basically guilty on all, they would be served concurrently, not consecutively. Interesting question, though. I will get that to our legal panel, our esteemed panel. Also, there's always been the question that has hovered out there about that letter that was initially sent to where Empire was taped. This set received a racist and homophobic threat. I can almost remember the picture of the envelope, almost with the appearance in almost a stick-like figure hanging from a noose. Jussie Smollett says that was aimed at him. Authorities have believed since day one that Jussie Smollett sent that himself, beginning what is now deemed this entire charade. That would be a federal crime. That would be using the Postal Service to make a threat. But the feds had never wanted to touch this one. And